Back in September, GoPro released their new GoPro Hero 7 cameras. Now, their marketing campaigns claim a lot of new benefits for time-lapse video producers. But do the cameras actually hold up and fulfill the promises that they made? Let's find out on this week's episode of the Timelapse Show. Hey fellow time-lapse producers, I am video producer and photographer Steve Barth, and this is show number 14 for the week beginning November 4th, 2018. Now, as I said at the top of the show, GoPro released the new GoPro Hero 7 back in September, and with it came some brand new image stabilization features that you can use for shooting video, and a new video mode called Time Warp, which we're going to test out today as we look at a GoPro Hero 7 compared to the older GoPro Hero 5. Which one's going to work better for time-lapse producers? Do all these new features live up to the hype? Let's go and find out. Please don't rain on me. So here we are in the beautiful foothills of the Willamette Valley here in Oregon, and we're coming to you to test the new capabilities of the GoPro Hero 7. Now, a couple things we want to look at. First of all, we want to look at its supposed amazing image stabilization. They're claiming this camera is a gimbal killer. Meaning, before you used to have a camera and you'd put it on a gimbal, which would then smooth out your movements as you're out shooting different things. But the gimbal was, a $600 to $800 extra device you had to buy in order to get those capabilities. GoPro is claiming that this Hero 7 has capabilities within it that allow it to stabilize footage as it goes. Now, we're going to test that here in just a minute. So first, let's test the image stabilization features. Now, one of the questions that you might have is, wait a minute, this is a time-lapse show. And when we're shooting time-lapse, we're not shooting traditional video. Well, hold on just a second. I'll explain why I'm doing this test. But first, let's check it out and see how this does. Now, I want to give you a sense of my rig here so that you kind of can see what's going to be happening as you're looking at footage. So here's what I've got setup-wise. I've got my little multiple GoPro camera rig here going. Granted, one of the slots up here is empty because it holds the camera I'm shooting with at the moment. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this back in. Then I'm going to walk through the woods and I'm going to take pictures with both the GoPro Hero 7 and my GoPro Hero 5. We're going to compare that footage all together. If I can get rid of that obnoxious leaf blower behind me. Shut up! We're in the woods! Who needs a leaf blower in the fall? So for the audio that's getting recorded onto the GoPro Hero 7 as I walk through here, because supposedly it has amazing new microphones built into it, I am just walking at a regular rate. I'm holding this rig up in the air. I'm not trying overly hard to stabilize it. I'm not, trying to be extra cautious. I'm just walking through the woods, holding a monopod with GoPros attached to it. So there you go, quick little 5-minute hike through the woods there. Granted, I'll be speeding up that footage so that we can kind of look at it and see what it looks like as it's sped up. But you can tell the difference between the GoPro Hero 7 and the GoPro Hero 5 as far as how it's stabilizing. Now, granted, some people have done tests where they've actually put, rigs on their chest that's wobbling around just so they can see what that stabilization does. Excuse me. But for today, we're just going to keep it like I would normally shoot it, which is going to be on some sort of a monopod to stabilize the shot, because that's kind of what I would normally do. Now, let's do some time warping. Now, what time warp is, it's a new feature that's offered on the GoPro Hero 7. Now, what it's doing is I just showed you the amazing stabilization that these cameras can do just when shooting video mode. It's taking video and it's using its internal processors to stabilize as it goes. Now, with time warp, what we're doing is we're taking time-lapse style shots. And this is actually a kind of a subset of time-lapse called hyperlapse, which we will get to in a future show. But it's taking hyperlapse style footage, and as it's taking the picture constantly, like you would in a regular time lapse, it's using the same stabilization that it's developed for its video, and it's applying this to time lapse production, giving you extra smooth time lapse / hyperlapse style shots, all because of its internal stabilization. So let's test this out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the GoPro Hero 7 on time warp mode in some of its different functionality. Then I'm going to put the GoPro Hero 5 on just regular filming mode, just like he was doing now, and I'm going to speed it up to match so we kind of get a comparison of kind of the old way of doing things versus this new time warp feature to see what it's going to get us as far as this cool hyperlapse time-lapse technology. So now that I look at my GoPro time-lapse settings, you'll notice a new mode has been added. It's called time warp video right there at the top. And that's where I'm going to go to start this whole time warp video segment. Okay, so there you go. That's just me walking through at a regular pace through the forest. The leaf blower is still going. But that's just me walking through the forest at just a regular pace. So the footage looks amazingly smooth. I'm really impressed by this. So let's try something crazy. Just, what the heck? I'm in for a good punishment today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this camera, which is my GoPro Hero 5 I'm currently filming on right now. And I'm going to flip this one towards me. I'm going to put the GoPro Hero 7 onto a... What shall I put it on? Let's do time warp, probably a 15 strength time warp, which will be a little bit slower, but the stabilization should still be stellar. And this time I'm going to run through the woods, which means what I'm shooting is going to be a lot shakier to see how that looks. Now, granted, we can all laugh at me out of shape trying to run through the woods, but let's see what this looks like. Time warp, go. Embarrassing Steve cam, go. All right. We are just jogging through the woods with a cold. The question is, how long am I going to last running up a hill in the forest, completely out of shape? Woohoo! But hey, it's all in the name of testing cameras, right? I'm running so that you don't have to. Yeah, great idea, Steve. Beautiful. Let's run through the woods. Okay, so one more test is I'm now just going to set both cameras on regular time-lapse video mode, which is what I'm shooting in kind of most often for this show. For my intervalometer, I'm going to set it at 1 second, just due to the fact that I only have a 5-minute walk between here and the other side. That'll give me enough pictures to make the time-lapse work. And then I can see just from time-lapse functionality both how these look in comparison to the time warp and the regular video footage, so I can see kind of which mode I feel is going to be best for what I'm wanting to shoot. So let's try a regular time lapse. So, back in the studio. So, what do we learn from all these various tests that we're doing? Well, first of all, we learned that the GoPro Hero 7 is actually a really solid, good camera. There's a lot of cool new features that really make things nice for time-lapse enthusiasts. Now, one quick note that I want to add in here. Now, this is more of a video production note than, say, a time-lapse note, but I'm just going to throw this out here. Typically speaking, when I go on location like I did earlier today, I always mic myself up with a little small external mic just to make sure that my audio levels are right on and people, especially listening to the audio version of the podcast, can hear me and have good, clean audio regardless of where I'm at. Today was the first time that I shot everything with that audio source on, but when I got into my edit, I didn't use that extra audio signal. And now the dog is making noise. From leaf blowers to puppy dogs. All the audio from today's episode was straight off of the GoPro Hero 7, without any filtering. It all just sounded great. So a nice little added bonus feature. So like I said, the GoPro Hero 7 is a great camera. It's shooting really good photography for me. It's shooting great videos, great time lapses, good audio. So if you're looking for just kind of a good all-in-one camera, again, not your main camera, but just a good one to keep with you when those moments arise, the GoPro Hero 7 is definitely doing the trick. What we're also learning from these tests is that it's really important when you get a camera like the GoPro Hero 7 to really mess around with it and learn which modes are appropriate for whatever you want to shoot. So for instance, if you're just wanting to shoot like a regular time-lapse, and by regular time-lapse, I mean you're just sticking on a tripod and letting it just go for a long period of time, you can use the time-lapse video mode, and it's going to work great. But if you need something with image stabilization to it, like when we were walking through the woods and that image stabilization was off, not great results. However, if we turn time warp on, which is the new feature on these cameras, you can get some amazing results. So make sure you know which mode you want and which time you want to use it. For instance, if you just want just smooth footage, you can just set it on video and turn on your image stabilizer and you're good to go. But again, make sure you know which mode you want and you've practiced and you know exactly how that works, and that's going to yield some great results for you. So that's it. I hope everyone's enjoyed my review on the GoPro Hero 7. Definitely go check it out. The Black Edition retails for $399. So for a great camera that's going to give you a lot of functionality for only $400, you can't go wrong. So that said, let's wrap up the show. Remember that if you want to connect with us in between shows, you can do so on social media. All the information is right down here. Just look up The Timelapse Show on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and you're going to find us. Just have the at the beginning. Again, all the information right down here. If you want to shoot us an email so that we can answer your questions on future shows, just send a message to show@thetimelapseshow.com and that will get over to us. If you want to leave a voicemail instead, call the voicemail line 541-321-0472. Remember, if you're listening to the audio version of the show, leave us a review on iTunes so that way others can find out about the show as well. And if you like the show and you're watching on YouTube, feel free to comment below. Everyone have a great week. Go enjoy some amazing fall colors. And that said, go grab a camera and speed up the world. We'll see you next week.